Beyond. We are here for you all with another show with Cowboys Experience. I have DDP in the house, man, from Dallas Prospect. Let people know what's on your mind.
Man, I am excited for week one to finally be here. It has been a long off season between holdouts, between just the general anxious feeling you have after a good year when you can tell things are trending in the right direction.
Right.
You just can't wait for that next season to show up. And now it's finally here. We are 2 days away and the season is upon us. I'm stoked.
Yes, indeed. So 2 days away, they had the first football game. I keep on saying preseason, but the first football game.
Felt like it.
It felt like it. Look, that was a horrible game yesterday, and people fail to realize they will say, "Hey, it's football. It's football." No. We should see something a little bit better than that displayed out there, especially with the first game. But neither here nor there. The first game is right around the corner for us, and hopefully we just don't look like what we saw yesterday.
Yeah, no, that was pretty rough. A 7-3 game is going to always be a bit of a slog to get through. But you know what? It's there. You hear some teams who kind of prioritize the first few weeks almost as if they are preseason extended. Because your starters don't get a lot of burn in the preseason. In some of our cases, none at all. But I think the NFL kind of wisely tries to avoid that problem by booking divisional games, which have double the importance. And it doesn't always work, as last night showed you. It was still rough and ugly, but at least the game still counted for, a little bit extra than a normal opener.
Yeah, it did. Divisional games, I think the NFL is thinking far ahead. And then you don't want to really gamble losing your first divisional game. Of course, it'll hurt you out in the long run. So, yeah, you're right. The NFL thought about it. But I just don't like the feeling of that slow start. And I just don't want people to pay all of their money and they go to a game and see something like that. That's just my thoughts, though,
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree. But, it is what it is. You're going to have guys that, because they didn't get the workout in the preseason, Zeke, and throughout his holdout, he wasn't here for any of training camp. Not that he ever sees preseason touches. I think his rookie year, he got the one Seattle game, really. But other than that, you're probably going to see a little bit of a slow start. It always takes a little bit of time for guys to get going. And whether that's the offense, I've heard before that it takes the defense time to catch up to the offense. Last night's example with the Bears and Packers was the opposite. The defenses both looked otherworldly, and the offenses looked like they couldn't do anything. Yeah. And, hey, he had a flashback to the past. The one touchdown was Jimmy Graham.
Jimmy. So always in my world, the best friend to a quarterback is always the tight end. So transitioning over to the Dallas Cowboys, we got another guy that's been playing for over, seems like millions of years, number 82, Jason Witten. What are your thoughts on him? You think that he can really help this team out, or is he just a placeholder to push this team back? How do you feel about Jason Witten?
I feel like he can bring a little something extra to the team. I mean, the biggest thing he brings, other than a little bit of red zone help, like I get a little frustrated when people say, oh, Witten's here, it's going to solve our red zone problems from last season, because if you look at Jason's last couple of years, he wasn't like putting up a lot of red zone touchdowns. Like, he wasn't putting up a lot of touchdowns in general. You could say that because of his like Y route that he likes to run and all that he opens some things up and at least draws some attention. But I think a big part of what he brings to it is just a little bit of stability to the tight end position, while we still continue to kind of figure it out with like your Blake Jarwins of the world and maybe your Dalton Schultz coming up. But aside from that, I think a big thing is just the kind of veteran leadership and the talk of a guy that's been there and really knows how to kind of command the room.
Yeah. So last year, I believe, on the road, we were not like where we were in the past. Normally on the road, we win games, right? And we lose games at home. So it was like the inverse. We won most of the games at home, and we lost games on the road. So I think when you add veteran leadership like the Jason Wittens of the world, even Sean Lee, even if he's in the backfield and not even, or in the background not playing, I think that they bring in that type of insight, how to prepare yourself on the road. Because I think that we were like the second or the third youngest team in the NFL last year. So I'm thinking that now that you bring Jason Witten back, hopefully he can just tell people, Do as I do. Watch how I prepare myself. Watch what I eat. Watch what I do as it relates to these drills and how I can be able to continue to play at this type of level. And hopefully some of this stuff can rub off on some of the young players and we'll see a better product out there as it relates to road games. But that will be for next week. This week, I think that Jason Witten still will bring in the extra element of catching the ball, those deep and middle thirds on those short routes that's inside. I think that he can do that. And then on top of that, with Ezekiel Elliott, of course, we want Ezekiel Elliott to be on a pitch count. And Tony Pollard, we should see some likings of a good offense out there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, when you were talking about last year and the slow start in Carolina, you and I covered that game. We did a live stream watch party for that game. And that was a really tough offensive game to sit through. But even the defense didn't look to itself. I mean, to the point of talking about how important preseason reps can be, the Cowboys kept Sean Lee in bubble wrap pretty much for the entirety of last preseason. So no injuries, but no contact, no anything. And that might be the most questionable game I've seen from Sean Lee in his career at Carolina. He was taking bad angles. He was missing tackles. Guys were breaking away from him. It shows that importance of the physical element. You can't replicate it. And that's why I'm a little bit cautious on the assumption that, yes, Zeke is back. And yes, to your point, he will be on a pitch count. But I still think you have to be a little bit cautious to just assume, well, hey, this is Zeke rolling in that averages 102 yards per game total. This isn't going to be a 20 or 25 carry game for Zeke, I don't think. I think you're going to see a pitch count. And I think as a result of that, you might see something in the neighborhood of 12 to 15 carries. And it might be something more along the lines of 25 to 30 snaps, like in terms of snaps he gets. And you think about it, that's about half the game at that point. But it's kind of taking that baby step back in because he hasn't seen the contact. We've seen the last couple of years, Zeke has started slow. I mean, even his rookie year, he started slow. The first two games, if you recall, he had that 2 fumble game at Washington, and you started hearing whispers of people saying like, oh my God, is Zeke a bust? And it's ridiculous to throw that out there so early, but I think with a running back, there's a lot of importance, not just in the physicality of the game, but in the speed of the game. When you're going full speed and guys are trying to hit you, I think your eyes take a moment to kind of adapt to that speed. And so sometimes you don't see the hole quite right to break through it and to cut. And I think that you see that with Zeke as well, because we limit him in the preseason because it's just like, okay, yeah, we don't need to risk our running back for this. This is what our offense is built around. Keep him off here to the side. And so that mixed in with his holdout, I think it's a recipe for not a lot of Zeke this weekend. You'll still get a decent bit of him here and there, but I think you're going to see more leaning on Pollard and Alfred Morris even just for this first couple of weeks while they get him integrated.
Yeah, so, man, you spoken like the truth out there, man. There's nothing but the truth, Cowboy Nation. Before I get into details of everything else he just said, shout out time, Michael that's on the Facebook panel. Really appreciate you. And that you already know, I love the fact that you are live in the chat box too. Adam, thank you for tuning in. Danny, thank you as well. And Cowboy Nation, we have an event tomorrow at Lava Cantina. If you are at the Colony area, if you're in Dallas area as well, come on out. It's the event from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock, and just mix and mingle. It'll be me, DDP. I think you're gonna be out there, right?
That was my plan.
That's your plan. So me, DDP, and Mark Holmes, Joe Boo, all of us will be out there, and we would love to see y'all beautiful faces. And not just us, the people that's going to be there will be Drew Pearson, man. And then on top of that, you sprinkle in the fact that you have a Michael Gallup, who I think that can pull some information from Drew Pearson, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then we have Travis Frederick and Zach Martin. I want to tell everybody, man, Travis Frederick, last year, looking at him, he lost a lot of weight. I thought he was going to get down to my size, and I'm only 194 pounds on a good day. So I just was like, man, I hope he can bounce back. And now looking at him, the physical power that he had out there during training camp and able to see him play a few snaps in preseason, man, I love every bit of it. I think that he's going to be out there running this thing, man, as it relates to being the guy that everybody can look at and say, okay, this is the leader of our team on this offensive line. Now, I don't use Madden ratings as a gauge, DDP,
Mm-hmm.
But a year before, last year, he was the highest guy on the Madden rating. I think he was like a 96. He was the
Okay.
highest guy. So if you remove that off the table, and I'm just talking about Madden, so don't crucify me, Cowboy Nation. He was the highest rated guy. And Joe Looney stepped up, and I think Joe Looney rating was like 69 or 70 something. But Joe Looney, they didn't miss a beat. With Joe Looney, Jumbo Joe. He's part of Cowboys experience as well. I just want you all, if you have a chance, to come out to Lava Cantina. It's at the Colony. You just put that into your Google Maps or Google or MapQuest, and you will get that location, and you will be able to get a chance to shake Travis Frederick's hand, if possible,
Yeah.
But
yeah.
that's what I want, Cowboy Nation, for us to understand that football and life is precious, and football is not guaranteed every day, neither is life. So, but if you have an opportunity to meet someone, go ahead and meet them.
Yeah, it's always a lot of fun out there at Cowboys Experience. This is year 2 for us doing this, and whether it's just meeting the other Cowboy fans there or the players themselves, a couple times we've even had them on. I was fortunate enough to have Drew Pearson, who you mentioned earlier, have him on the Prospect channel briefly. And I know that you've talked with guys before. We recorded some stuff as well, talking with, you mentioned Looney, Jeff Heath, who else we talked to, Rod Smith when he was here. All kinds of great access to the players and all that, and it's just a good time, good food, good drinks, all that.
Yes, indeed. So we just want you all to have a good time. Matter of fact, I'm lying. I want you all to have a great time, right?
There you go.
But moving back to Ezekiel Elliott talk.
Yes, sir.
20 to 25 snaps, 12 to 15
carries was my thinking.
That's a sweet number. Now, with those carries, if he can get anywhere from 4.7 to maybe 5.3 yards per carry, that would be great. I like the fact that we got Tony Pollard in, because we marveled at his skill set during his preseason. And then, of course, what we saw at when he was in Memphis playing in college or what have you. My thing is, with this offense, we are a run-first team. But also we got to understand, with Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup stepping it up and being up, and then on top of that, you got a veteran guy that you can squeeze into the inside that wears number 18, if you know what I mean, named Randall Cobb. I think that this offense is just going to be an explosive offense. I just don't see. You can say, hey, Law, you got Ray Charles vision, man. No, I can actually see this right here, that this team should score more than 10 points. It should not be anywhere close of 10-3, what we just witnessed yesterday with the
low bar.
Green Bay. It's a low bar. So what? Right now, the Green Bay Packers is number 1 defense in the NFL. They probably can keep that because allowing only 3 points. So I'm with this thing right here. I said last year, if we only average one more touchdown than what we had last year, we were averaging 22 points a game, basically. If you only average one more touchdown, they will move us from being ranked 21st and 22nd and 23rd in offense all the way up to ranked number 4 and 5 and on total offense. So nice. I'm thinking, I'm going to go ahead and put it out there, because I did several shows before. I'm thinking that this team can give us 28 points to Giants 13. Putting it out there.
Okay.
I'm declaring and decreeing.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. The defense last year for the Cowboys gave up a little over 19 points a game. I want to say it was like 19.3 points per game.
Oh, wow.
And that was one of their best attributes. That was one of the best aspects of their defense. There are some areas where you can look at the defense, though, and say, I'm still not completely sold based on last year. We know, obviously, what the turnover numbers looked like for this team. They were very low. I think it was like 9 interceptions on the year, only like, I can't remember the turnover number off the top of my head as a whole, fumbles and all that included. But we know it wasn't super high. They need to bump up that number. That was one area of concern. Another was they were surprisingly low on getting off the field at third down. Third down defense was surprisingly not a strong point for us last year. And they're going to have to address that. They're going to have to improve on that from last year, because I think they were something in the area of 27th on third down defense. They were phenomenal in the red zone, phenomenal at keeping you, obviously, I think the 6th rated scoring defense in that regard. So there are a lot of strong elements to it, but it was a little bit of a mixed bag. So there are some things that can be improved on. I tend to look at things in a little bit more optimistic light. I think they will build on those things. I think year 2 with Chris Richard in the fold, you're going to see more turnovers produced from the secondary, not just the growth of guys like Chidobe Awuzie, even Anthony Brown could get back in that. I mean, think about how many interceptions he dropped last year.
Wow.
He could have had another 4 interceptions, maybe 6 interceptions if you look at the ones that hit him in the hands. And if he even brings in half of those, that's a drastically different outlook for the secondary in terms of creating turnovers. So I think with year 2 and everything else that is in place, you can see growth in that area. And if that's the case, then I have a hard time seeing, even with Saquon being as dominant as he is, I mean, he is a handful. I know that they had that first game against him last year where it was like 13 carries for 20 yards, but we know what he can do as a receiver for them. And their offensive line is improving. I still think that we're going to hold them somewhere in the neighborhood of 13 points. I think Dallas probably gets away with this one 21-13 is my gut feeling.
Okay. And they always play us rough, the Giants, and it's always a good deal because you got the season opener. Everybody's going to be nervous. And of course, I read the report. Of course, Luke Gifford will not play this weekend, as well as Donovan Wilson. He will not play. It's somebody else that was on the list of not able to play or on the not active roster. Do you have that list?
Not right in front of me, but I can try and find it real quick.
And I'm going to speak on Donovan Wilson. He's been like the preseason MVP for the defense. Flying out to the ball, chasing, making tackles, and, of course, getting the interceptions. This is the thing that I have to say about interceptions and our third down defense being ranked 27 or at the bottom end of the league.
Yeah,
I think that that's a great insight to our ability to not get turnovers, our ability to not create pressure as it relates to front four and depth purposes. Remember, a lot of times on third downs and those key down situations, most teams like to bring in their quote-unquote pass rushing specialists. This year, I don't have those reservations. I think that D-Law, even though he had a good year last year, I think that D-Law is going to be better this year. I think that the other guys that's on their front four is going to feed off each other, and they're going to create more of those turnovers and create more pressure as it relates to the interior. And, of course, those bookends on the edge, they're going to get to the quarterback to create more turnovers and takeaways, and also turnovers on downs and things like that, or punt kicks and things and get off the ball. So I'm very optimistic, Cowboy Nation. Shoot me if you guys feel otherwise. Shoot me down verbally.
Yeah.
Verbally.
Gotcha. Yeah, verbally.
Shoot me down verbally.
Cannot stress that enough.
Sure, especially in this modern day time. But shoot me down verbally, because I just love this team, and I have high hopes for the future.
I got that injury list for you here. For the ruled outs, you have Luke Gifford for ankle, Darian Thompson ankle, Donovan Wilson ankle, and that's it.
That's the three.
That's the three. Yep.
That's
the
not
other
bad
50
at all.
players are all good.
That's not bad at all. So that means that Taco Sunday. You think Taco is going to do something this weekend?
Yeah. I mean, he had a really good finish to the preseason. His last 2 games, particularly that dress rehearsal against the Texans, was his best performance I think I've seen. And unfortunately, it was in a preseason game where you could argue the Texans really took their foot off the gas following the Lamar Miller injury on their second snap. But I think that there's still something to be salvaged from Taco. I don't think he's going to be the vaunted war daddy that Jerry Jones was talking about when they were going into that draft. And I think he was going to be hard-pressed to do that anyway, because they took him at 27?
Right.
So you were going to be hard-pressed to find that anyway in that late of a round, or that late of the first round. But I think you're going to see a pretty good year out of him. We've seen flashes, but just not the full package. I think that they're going to get finally feel like they're getting a little bit more on their investment, little return on the investment there. I don't think he'll be the war daddy, but I think he can contribute well within this front that we have. The defensive front is one of the best strengths of this team. And if they've solidified the middle of it a little bit more, where it doesn't get run on like it did in 4 games last year, of course, we know the Rams game.
Right.
If they've solidified the middle of that line, like if you could see someone come on that didn't necessarily pop off the screen in training camp, like a Tristan Hill, or you see more from Woods, or whoever they're going to run in there defensive tackle. If you can see more there that shores up that part of the line, then I think this defensive front is nasty.
It's nasty. And the only reason why I would say this defensive front, opposed to what we had last year against the LA Rams, and they gashed us big time. They gashed us, and I want to say the Colts gashed us with Marlon Mack. And they were able to run from the inside. As much as we love Saquon Barkley, I do know that he don't have a lot of limitations, but I would want Saquon Barkley to run from the inside. I would want him to meet Malik Collins. I would want him to try to shoot the gap on Jalen Smith and have him coming down to baptize him in the mighty name, So I would want those type of things to happen because, of course, Saquon Barkley on the outside, maybe he can make somebody miss. But the way I look at this defense, they fly out and chase to the ball like no other. I just don't see him doing those type of performance ever with the Dallas Cowboys. And this is a prove-it year for Malik Collins. And somebody hit me up earlier and said, would you rather pay Byron Jones or Malik Collins? And I was like, give me Byron Jones. But don't sleep on Malik Collins. We never know how Jerry Jones and those boys would reach into their pockets and say, hey, we're going to go ahead and pay number 96.
Sure. And, with Malik in particular, everyone's going to look and say, well, hey, it's a contract year. Of course he's going to show out. But that's not always indicative of the situation. What did we see with D-Law? It's not like he showed out for 1 year to get paid and then it just let the foot off the gas. With him, and I think similar with Malik, the biggest thing has been health. He's had recurring issues with his feet, his ankles, all of that, and it's just affected his ability to stay on the field and to get the kind of burst that he wants. We saw as a rookie, what did he have? 4 or 6 sacks. We talked about this. You and I were high on him heading into year 2 of his career.
I think he had 4. He could have been 6, though. I could be wrong. Somebody with the information for the nation, man, help us out, man.
But he had a really solid rookie year and not a huge sample size because I think even in his rookie year, I think he broke his foot in camp, came back, and then ended up the season with at least 4 sacks. And really solid performance. This is the first time that he is healthy. And I think what you see with guys in this situation, it's not just that they're like, oh, well, it's a contract year for me, so I got to play harder now. If that's all it was, you would have guys playing at a higher level than just 1 year out of every 4 or 5 or something to that effect. I think it's everything to do with health. And sometimes when you get in those situations, and we saw this with D-Law too, you kind of start to evaluate like, ooh, okay, the last couple of years, I've been banged up. I haven't been able to stay healthy and stay on the field. This is a big season for me coming up in terms of if I want a new deal, if I want to stick around and all that. So let me change up what I'm doing, whether it's how I'm eating, how I'm working out. Let me work on building up some of my core strength. Like D-Law, what does he do? He doesn't he ride his bike to the stadium or something like that? Like he does a lot more cycling. Wisely tries to and things like that he didn't do before then. And it just helps you build up strength in different ways that you didn't see before, and then you can reap the benefits. It sounds like from what we've heard about Malik Collins' offseason, he's had one of those off seasons now where he's changed a lot of how he was going about things, and you're seeing it pay off. He was one of the more impressive Cowboys in training camp, and if he stays healthy, I think he could have a very big year for them. I think he is one of my under-the-radar guys to watch this season.
Yes, indeed. So I just look at it like this, DDP, and you made some valid points there. If we can just manage to keep him healthy, and then he'll get all of those things going for us, creating that pressure, and then on top of that, we see the benefits from the outside, Cheeto Woozier and my guy Byron Jones. Maybe, just maybe, people will look at it from a different perspective. And I like that. And there's some people that's in the chat box also saying that Dak Prescott will get paid this weekend. Do you think there's going to be any type of breaking news tomorrow of a massive contract with Dak Prescott? Should they pay him before, or they should let him play the season out?
Well, when Zeke did get paid, I speculated that Dak wouldn't be far behind and that it could come as early as Thursday. Obviously, it didn't. I think it's a long shot to get done between now and before the game.
Right.
But I feel like you could see something right after the game. I could envision Dak having 3 total touchdowns and also getting paid then after the win. I could see Dak having a not a blow you away performance, but a
Right.
solid, the kind of performance he's really built his career on for the most part. I mean, we've seen the outliers, and we've seen he's had bad games, but I think you'll see another Dak Prescott game that is just smooth and steady for the most part in terms of production. And I think you'll see him get a nice division win and then get paid by Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. I could definitely see that happening.
So they just squeeze it out, huh?
I think so. I think it's going to draw out a little bit more, but it's not like it's, if the game was 4 or 5 days away, I would say it probably could get done in time. I just think that because of everything involved, it might have to wait until the start of next week, but we'll see.
Yes, indeed. So that's some good stuff right there. So totally, when you look at, of course, we talked about Dak Prescott. We talked about the touches of Ezekiel Elliott. What are your expectations of the rookie, Tony Pollard? And what are your expectations of the other guy, the rookie, Tristan Hill? What are your expectations of them?
Well, for Tristan Hill, man, he's going to have to really work his way into the swing of things, because he was kind of a disappointing player for me in training camp. And that's not to say he, isn't any good. Obviously, he has plenty of time to break out and do something. We've seen guys start a little slow sometimes coming into their career, but I thought we would see more from him. I didn't think he would be a starter yet by any means, but I thought you would see more pop from him to where you could easily see him getting regular snaps within the rotation. I don't know where he's kind of at right now. I feel like he's a step or two away currently. But as far as Pollard, man, I think there's a lot of potential for him. If you want to compare him to, and I can't remember if I was talking with you about this or if it was a different stream. If they want to use Pollard kind of like, I believe it was 2015 Tavon Austin.
Wow.
That would be a great comp in that regard, because he had something like 52 catches and 52 rushing attempts, and his yards were like 496 and 472 like respectively. And it was like 9 touchdowns with like 5 receiving, 4 rushing.
Wow.
Like that kind of just pure even balance where it's like a perfect running back wide receiver hybrid. That is what I see with Pollard, because I think he has a lot of great potential. We see what he did in the preseason between the tackles, and that's what got people excited, right? Hey,
right.
ZQ, like that whole thing. Oh, that was blown out of proportion. And I think he's capable of it, certainly. But I think his best quality that you could expect to see from him is going to be in that receiving game, that wide receiver thing. He had another 23-yard screen pass called back, I think because of a block in the back maybe on Witten in that Texans game as well. I mean, it was just a beautiful run by him, and you see how he can be elusive, and you see that agility. Like he's Zeke's size. He's 6 foot. He doesn't have the stout size of Zeke in terms of that. I think Zeke's like 220 and Pollard's only about 205, but I mean, there's a lot there to like about what he can bring to the table. And I think if you can use him as that hybrid, and if you actually have a system that will utilize him to that strength, I think that could be a great weapon for this offense this year.
Yeah, so I do look at that. And then I think I said on one of the streams, I want Tony Pollard to get anywhere from maybe 5 to 8 rushing, and as far as snaps, he can get pretty much 12 to 15 snaps as well. But it's just depending on how old Kellen Moore is going to draw up that system and those plays. And then on top of that, since we got a Travis Frederick back out there, when we get into the money zone, green zone, red zone, maybe you can see Jumbo Joe back out there as the fullback with Ezekiel Elliott in the backfield. Or they can go with maybe a different personnel look with Ezekiel Elliott and Jumbo Joe. So there's so many things that you can do now that you have an Ezekiel Elliott and you have a Travis Frederick back out there. And, of course, with the Tony Pollards of the world. So I do like that. Now, going back to number 79, Tristan Hill, in that regard, I would say it may take around week 8, week 9 for him to get his adult body strength all together and understanding football is real rough and it's rugged, and it's not something that you can just roll out of the bed and say, okay, I'm gonna drink this carton of milk and I'm gonna run out there and knock some people over. It's not gonna work that way. And I said the same thing as well on the other stream about this guy named Randy Gregory. You remember around this week, a couple of months ago, my guy Jerry Jones was saying I wouldn't be surprised if we can get Randy Gregory out there week 1. Now, although Randy Gregory is still on the suspension or on the exempt list or whatever you call it, a
Correct.
suspension list, I think that around week 6, week 7, week 8, maybe they can reinstate him because we're gonna see Josh Gordon out there, right? So hopefully Randy Gregory would turn in his paperwork and we'll see that defensive front even more reinforced, and that would help out the Tristan Hill as well. Having somebody else that he can just barely rotate in and he'll have those fresher legs third and fourth quarter. How do you feel about that?
I mean, we got to see when Gregory even applies for reinstatement. That's
True.
the thing, right? Because the NFL has up to 60 days to approve or decline. Now, you saw with them bringing back Josh Gordon for the Patriots, we assume if he got back, then we assume Randy Gregory should be able to kind of waltz in. And on one hand, I look at it and I say, okay, the fact that he didn't just run out there and submit his stuff the next day tells me that he is serious about trying to get his mental health and everything in order and kind of, deal with the things he's struggling with. I appreciate all of that. But it is one of those things, too, where you have to then kind of question, how close is he? How close is he to a return? I would love to add him back this year. I'd love to add him back, like you said, around the midseason mark where you have a chance to not only get him integrated into things, but have him hopefully rounding into form around the time that hopefully a playoffs would be rolling around for us. That's what you would hope for. But I just don't know how close he is because the only times I've heard him brought up in recent weeks has been to say that there's not a lot of movement on that front.
Oh man, that's crazy, huh?
Yeah.
So what are your expectations of Amari Cooper?
Man, he missed a month with the ever-changing injury that went from a ligament issue to a bruised heel to a ligament issue / Achilles to plantar fascia to what was it? I don't remember the last one they threw out there, but he says he's capable of playing through it. He's had a practice now, I think, where he did go 100% and have to cut off it and everything. He says he's played through it in his career before, played through it his last year at Alabama, he says, played through it his second year at Oakland. So it's no stranger to him, but he did acknowledge as early as Wednesday, as recently as Wednesday, that he still hasn't had to go 100% on it yet in terms of full speed cutting and all of that. And for a guy whose bread and butter is his crisp route running, that could be problematic, right? Like a foot, let alone the kind of arch of your foot for anybody is going to be problematic. But when you're a guy who's more about crisp routes and breaking open, creating separation as opposed to a jump ball winner like Dez before him was for us, that's potentially a bigger red flag. Now, for the record, I think he'll be all right with us. I think maybe you'll see a little bit of a slow start for him, but I don't think it's going to be anything too egregious. I think he'll be all right. I think here's my bold prediction. One of my bold predictions for this stream.
Let's get it on then. A bold prediction time.
Yeah. we talked a little bit about 3 bold predictions apiece. I know we already threw our scores out there. That's bonus as far as I'm concerned. My first bold prediction is that Michael Gallup will have more receptions and yards than Cooper in week 1.
Wow. So he
I think
Gallup.
Crown. Yeah, I think Gallup. Now it's not like I'm saying who's your real number 1 receiver. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
Come on.
I'm just saying I think Gallup has had a phenomenal camp. I think he looks like he's ready to have a big year. I mean, even in the limited scenarios that we've had to see him thus far kind of play like the number 1 receiver, you've still seen him find ways to be productive, which is something I didn't think he was going to be at this stage of his career, this young stage of his career. So, we never saw a T. Will able to do that, comparatively speaking.
Right.
And that was most apparent in 2015. But I think you're going to see Gallup because of his ascension and Cooper because of just the little bit maybe slower he's going to be, not like necessarily physically, but just with his route running maybe. I think you'll see Gallup be the guy that gets by the Giants, because I think the Giants are going to have their focus on Cooper just because, hey, he's Cooper. And until someone sees Gallup start turning heads in the regular season, I don't think he's going to draw the attention that'll really slow him at all yet.
Wow. Hey, that's a good bold prediction, though. Do you want to throw any numbers out there, or are you just going to say more, right? I'm
Okay.
gonna throw some numbers out at mine. So I got a good
Okay.
one coming
Okay.
though. But go ahead, go.
Okay. If we're gonna make me double down here and risk completely undermining all the good faith I just built up, let's say 6 for 83 and a score.
Woo! Okay, 6 receptions for 83 and a
Mhm.
score. So he's gonna catch a fade ball, or he's gonna run it, or is he gonna do it all in one scoop?
I think
Most of
his
the
touchdown
yards.
is yeah, I think his touchdown is going to be like what you saw against the Texans. I think you're going to see a scramble play in the red zone where he and Dak just show a developing chemistry, and it gets him open like that, where it's just kind of like, all right, schoolyard. Romo and Dez were great at that. I
Right.
think you'll see something to that effect here, and that'll allow him to get a red zone score for us.
Red zone score for us. So
And hey, those were rare last year.
right. That was very rare because we didn't have Jumbo Joe as a fullback.
Yep.
I just play with you all. I want to say this. This is my bold prediction. We got 3 of them, so this is my first one.
Yeah.
Ezekiel Elliott will force Tony Pollard to play. And here's why. Ezekiel Elliott will force Tony Pollard to play more snaps because Ezekiel Elliott will rush for 12 attempts for 112 yards.
Ooh, okay.
Yes, with 1 touchdown. And he's going to get a big chunk play because we already hear the news and the noise that Saquon Barkley, he came out on record saying, okay, it's good that Ezekiel Elliott says that he's the best, but I am the best, running back in the NFL. So that as friendly rivalry, you kind of really like look at it like, oh, okay, I got you. You one up me on that because it was the statement. But I'm gonna try to really double back and one up you on the field. See, and there's gonna be a lot. Ezekiel Elliott, he's gonna have 2 spoons. He's gonna be using the 2 spoons deal, and he's gonna get, like I said, 12 carries. Mark it down, Cowboy Nation. 12 carries for 112 yards with a touchdown. And then the other touchdown going to come from your guy, Gallup, okay?
Yeah.
Niggas going to just pass that in. Let me know how you guys feel. You guys put your bold prediction down in the chat box as well. Maybe down the line, what we would do is do cash giveaways or prize giveaways, ticket giveaways, and things like that if the sponsors allow us, right?
Yeah, of course. Everything with the sponsors for sure.
Right. Shout out to them.
On the Saquon Barkley thing, I going off the back of what you said, him saying that he's the best running back. I mean, he's got otherworldly ability. We know that, but I will remind him, as John Williams pointed out on Twitter, Saquon Barkley rushed for less than 50 yards 7 times last season, compared to Zeke rushing for less than 50 yards only 3 times in his 43 career games, including playoffs. So 7 out of 16 under 50 last year for Saquon, and Zeke only 3 times in 43 games.
Wow. And I can just hear the built-in excuses for the Giants. They would say, well, he don't have the same offensive line that Ezekiel Elliott got. But I would say this right here. All offensive line have not been healthy since 2016. One can argue 2015. So Ezekiel Elliott been running behind, and not trying to throw any shade at him or salt. Joe Looney's of the worlds, and the year before that, the Byron Bells and the Chad Greens. So it's not have been a complete offensive line. And I think one game, Zach Martin had to step away. So, I mean, it's been one of those things where we have not had a complete offensive line. I think that the Giants, they went and drafted a guy, Hernandez, and they went and picked up another guy, a Nate Shoulders or somebody like that, I believe.
Yeah, they got soldiers from, I want to say
Patriots.
Yeah, I think that's where he came from last, but I think I remember him with the Bears once. But
okay.
Yeah, if you recall, when they took LVE, when Dallas drafted LVE, I was very high on Will Hernandez. That was who I wanted, even though it would have been another first-round pick on a lineman. That's what I was looking at in that regard. Now, I'm very happy with what we got, and I think in the end it was the more essential addition. But that was my guy that I was high on at the time.
Oh wow! Oh wow! So hey, there goes to show everyone that we're gonna have to remove the excuses away from Saquon Barkley if he get less than 50 yards this game coming around this Sunday.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start off with this other bold prediction, and
Okay.
it's gonna be on the defensive side of the ball.
Yep.
I think that Aaron Rodgers, he got sacked 5 times yesterday against the Chicago Bears. He got sacked 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
And that was Aaron Rodgers. I want our defensive front to outperform that 5 sacks. So this defensive performance this weekend will force Daniel Jones into the game, and we will sack him 2 more times. So I'm thinking that we will get 6 sacks against Eli Manning. It will be a total of 8 sacks altogether collectively with our front 4. And also with that, I'm thinking that out of those 8 sacks completely, there's going to be 2 forced fumbles within that package. How about them hot boys?
I like that.
Bold prediction.
Yeah. To the point of, Aaron Rodgers, with his case, he does have a tendency to hang on to the ball longer to try and make something happen. He's one of the great improvisers, obviously, but the Bears are a stout defensive front for sure. One of the best defenses. That offense doesn't look very appealing right now, but I'm willing to give them a mulligan if it comes with the L as well. But as regards to the Dallas defensive front and how many sacks they can get, I can definitely see them getting 5 or 6. I can see them matching, maybe slightly upping. I don't know if I don't think we usher in the Daniel Jones era yet. I think that's going to be something that happens around week 4 through 6 at the latest. But I do think that change is coming, obviously, in New York. And, he showed flashes in the preseason as well. So they're at a tough spot. The thing is, they don't have any receivers right now. I think they're going to have Sterling Shepard back, but they really don't have any receivers. Yes, the offensive line is improving, and they have Saquon, which is better than nothing, obviously.
True.
But I think they're just missing too much. And then when you see what the defense is able to do for them, I think it's going to be easier for Dallas, which is why my second bold prediction is that Dak Prescott will be sacked fewer than 2 times. 1 sack for Dak Prescott in this game is my prediction. Now, keep in mind, 56 last year.
Right.
So only 1 in this week would be, I think, pretty solid improvement in that regard.
Yes, indeed. Especially it's a home game, so it's a home opener, so he should have a natural feel, and he should be able to get the ball out quicker. So, yeah, what is it? 1 sack, right? 1? Uno?
Mm-hmm.
That's a good bold prediction. I'm not going to even lie. That's good. And, of course, we ain't going to be looking for any interceptions. Shout out to you, Italy Joe, man. Thank you. He said he agreed. 8 sacks. You got anybody you want to give a shout-out to on your page?
Yeah, we got a bunch of people over here on the prospect page here. Kent Ketchum first in the house. Yes. Tavion Wallace. I saw the Sports Fear was in here earlier. What's up, guys? Mm-hmm. Gabriel Paulin. Let's see. Mrs. Scouting Pro, saw you in here as well. Mm-hmm. Jeremy, what's up? Yeah, a lot of good followers in here in the chat. Yes, but yes, sir. So, do we want to get into our third and final predictions, our bold predictions for this?
I got one, and you guys know I don't like defenses at all. I love it. And it's on our side of the ball. I'm predicting that Cheeto Awuzie will have, because he picked off Eli last year, did he?
Mm-hmm,
Cowboy Nation, huh? And he was so close to several interceptions. This game, because he's wearing my number 24. That's my high school number. That's my middle school number. That's my number 24. I'm going to say that Cheeto Awuzie is going to have 2 interceptions to back that up with my other guy on the opposite side. I don't know if Byron Jones is going to play.
Yeah, he is.
He's going to play. So he's a go. Okay. So it makes it even better. 2 interceptions for Cheeto Awuzie and 1 interception for Byron Jones. They're going to triumph. So it's 3 interceptions completely. Don't you know that'll be crazy for Cowboys land? Because we allergic to interceptions. We're allergic to turnovers and takeaways. But this weekend, we're going to get those turnovers and takeaways. Woo-wee!
Man, that would be legit, because that would literally be 1/3 of last season's total in the opener. So if they can pull off 3, I will be doing backflips and probably breaking my neck on the first attempt. But all the same, that's a good one. I was going to lean in the direction of the defense. So we talked about the defensive line and the pressure. You talked about the interceptions. I'm going to suggest that you see a big play out of these special teams now. Not necessarily Maher, not necessarily saying a long field goal attempt. Might be a blocked punt. It might be something like that. I think you're going to see something out of the special teams play here, whether it's let's say, kickoff return of 40 yards or more, or a blocked punt. But it's going to be something where that, as Jason Garrett likes to say, he always likes to talk about his all 3 phases. It's going to be that third phase where you see the momentum really swing in Dallas's favor in this game. And I think Dallas will be able to ride that to pull away late. Relatively close game.
Yes, indeed. All right, so I won't be all the way homerish with you all on this wonderful show that we got right now. The guys that we have to look out for as far as the Giants. This guy, Cody Lattimore, I'm saying that a lot of people saying he's sneaky. Yeah, he's a guy that can really get behind us, especially as it relates to jump ball, 50-50 balls. He's great in those aspects of it. And this other guy, he wears number 88. That's a nice number for him. They're in line. Well, he's not an inline tight end, but he's a tight end that can stretch the field vertically. And then also he's like, remember what I said when we first started this stream, the tight end is always the quarterback best friend. So even if Eli closed his eyes and throw it to number 88, I think his name is Ingram. Evan Ingram. Yep. Yeah, so those guys. So you don't want Cody to find a spark. You don't want Ingram to find a spark. And then on top of that, you don't want number 26, Saquon Barkley, to find a spark. But outside of that, nobody on the defensive side of the ball I'm worried about. Nobody else on the offensive side of the ball opposed to those guys I'm worried about. So I will be in close looks of those guys that's out there on the field.
Okay. I see here just a couple quick notes as well. Dallas is favored by, looks like 7 points right now. Over under 45.5 points. So with both our predictions, I think we're both under that actually. 45.5 seems a little high for this matchup. Yeah, I'm going to say.
Is this Vegas speaking, or who's this?
This is just me looking through the Bleacher Report preview here.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's their own thing, if they do that, or if they're pulling from Vegas. Obviously, they don't handle gambling, so I'm guessing they're pulling from Vegas. So, yeah, it looks like the over-under 45.5. I'm going to say under, for whatever that's worth to people.
Right. Well, I'm just going to echo whatever you just said with the under part of it, because to me personally, all I can see is 28. All I can see is that number. Us getting up to that number and us putting up 28 points on the board and not allowing our opposition to get 13 or more points. You see, just get right at 13, nothing more. Okay?
Right.
Yep. Any other things do you have on your mind about this team before we wrap everything up?
I think that's pretty good for this first week. I would just remind everyone to come check us out tomorrow at Lava Cantina for the Cowboys experience. Law Nation, myself will be there. You said earlier that Cowboy Joe Boo will be there as well, Mark Holmes. So that's good. I don't recall hearing what players are going to be out there. Do you know on that?
It's going to be Gallup, Travis Frederick, and Zach Martin. I think also we're going to have Drew Pearson out there, of course, on the ones and twos, on the mic, letting everybody know, getting everything hype. Natalie Woods, she'll be out there as well as one of the MCs. So I can't wait to see her and everybody else out there. The DJ, of course, DJ SC, he's going to be out there on the ones and twos, mixing it up, looking like, the Rick Ross with the beard and everything, flossing on everybody. Who else? The Cowboys, they'll be there.
Yes, the Cowboys will be there as well. So, that's in the Colony, right, at Lava Cantina. So if you guys want to come check that out, come check it out. We'll be doing something there, doing some kind of live streaming of some sort, I'm sure, and talking to some of the players, talking to some of you guys, and we'll have a good time.
Oh yeah, all the time, man. So everybody, you guys need to check out DDallasProspect.com. But tell them the rest of the information where they can find you at DDP.
Well, you can check out the Dallas Prospect on YouTube. We're growing that, approaching 3,000 subs, so that's really cool. I'd like to get there, obviously, as by the end of the year if possible. But we'll do what we can. You can also find us on Facebook or on Twitter at Dallas Prospect as well. You can read my work on DallasSportsFanatic.com or Clutch Points. I've started writing for Clutch Points recently, so you can check out my work on Clutch Points as well. And of course, as you mentioned, DallasProspect.com. Of course, I write from my side as well. So
Right.
3 different places to find my work. And if you want to see my podcasts or streams or Cowboys, college football, Mavericks, whatever talk, YouTube channel's where to go.
Yes, indeed. So, guys, if you love the Cowboys, check that out, man. DallasProspect.com. Now, if you want to get a chance to go out to the games, ingratiate yourself with players like I said, Drew Pearsons of the world and Michael Gallup and beyond, all you got to do is go to Cowboys XP. Use that hashtag Cowboys XP, and you will find us at www.cowboysexperience.com as well. Check out our Facebook page, Cowboys Experience. Man, you will enjoy yourself out here because we don't like the Cowboys at all. We love them. And we're going to play this quick commercial so you guys can understand where we're coming from. Let's go.
Hi, I'm Jalen Smith, linebacker for the Dallas Cowboys, and I'm here with Cowboys Experience, enjoying my time. Happy to be here. We got a lot of fans out. Let's give it. All right. Hey, go Cowboys. Clear eye view.
This is Zach Martin. Welcome to Cowboys Experience.
Hey, I'm Michael Gallup of the Dallas Cowboys, wide receiver. Welcome to the Cowboys Experience. Come see me this fall.
Fans, this is Jeff Heath. Just want to welcome you guys to the Cowboys Experience. Hope you have a good time.
Yes, indeed, Cowboy Nation. So that's all the time that we have for today. I really appreciate each and every last one of you all. Don't forget to hit us up, Cowboys Experience. We live like 95 tomorrow. I can't wait to see you all there. Matter of fact, don't meet me there, beat me there. Let's go, Cowboy Nation. And remember, you all are listening in to nothing but the best. Salute. Yeah. And every legend was once a prospect. Yeah. Good show, man. Good show.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. That was a great show.
Really appreciate that. Yeah. Let's go.
Yeah. I like the setup and everything. I know you said it's still kind of a work in progress, but I dig it.